Greetings to everyone in this new Tuesday edition of Console Gaming News. The main highlights today: the upcoming release of the PS5 Pro, which apparently has been in development since before the standard PS5 launched. A portable PlayStation 4 is now ready. Concord's unfortunate outcome, Sony's promises of numerous releases in the future, and how PlayStation Plus has disappointed its audience. Yes, there's been quite a lot happening this week, so get comfortable and let's quickly go over everything. This Thursday, November 7th, official sales of the new PlayStation 5 Pro will begin, though some bloggers have already received it and shared interesting insights. First, IGN released a full unboxing where we can see the console live, view its appearance, and assess its design. If you want to see what's changed inside, you'll need to check out a teardown video from Spanish reviewers, where it was revealed that the console now has 2 GB of RAM dedicated solely to the operating system, and access to the CMOS battery has been made easier for BIOS reset. There's also a complete comparison online of the PlayStation 5 Pro box with earlier models. Compared to the PlayStation 5, the box is 15 to 20% shorter, yet about 1 centimeter thicker. Overall, the dimensions have been optimized to streamline the logistics chain as much as possible. Sony has begun sending its players an unusual invitation to join an exclusive, closed elite club. This club will gather the most dedicated PlayStation fans, who will have the chance to influence the future of the brand through secret voting. How to join this elite Sony club and how much influence it will have on Sony's decisions remains unclear. However, it seems that only loyal fans from the United States and Europe will receive invitations, and the voting itself will be mostly symbolic, unlikely to have any real impact. The horror game Slitterhead, released on November 4th by Bokeh Studio, founded by the creator of Silent Hill, Forbidden Siren, and Gravity Rush, has received mixed reviews. Reviewers believe that the project had great potential, which, unfortunately, the developers were unable to fully realize. The game features various unique mechanics, but none of them were implemented properly. Critics were particularly unimpressed by the outdated technical aspects of the project, the visually off-putting character models, as well as the repetitive locations and tasks. On Metacritic, the game received a score of 60 points. Ubisoft suspects that the constant criticism directed at it is due to the quality of its games, which is why it delayed the new Assassin's Creed. Just think about that. They suspect. Players on every site shout about this every year.
Release a finished game, not an unpolished piece of code.
If managers actually listened to player feedback instead of financial reports, the company wouldn't have had to lose 20 million euros on the delay of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Let me remind you, the game will be released on February 14th, 2025. On Twitter, now called X, users discovered a hidden feature on the PlayStation 3 home screen. The particles on the main screen mimic the movement of the DualShock 3 controller. This feature only works with genuine controllers, making it a good way to check for counterfeit ones. Personally, I, like many old-school gamers, probably knew about this feature for a long time. But since the console is many years old, younger gamers likely had no idea about it, which explains the current excitement. It's strange that Sony didn't implement something similar in newer generations. Or did they? I'm about to go check. Hidetaka Yoshina, director of Sony Interactive Entertainment, revealed that development of the PlayStation 5 Pro began 5 years before its release, even before the launch of the standard PS5. After the massive success of the PS4 Pro, chosen by 20% of buyers, including new users, the company decided to create a premium PlayStation 5 Pro model as another long-term project. This isn't surprising, as for some players, rather than buying just one console per generation, it often involves purchasing an intermediate Pro model. Judging by the pre-sale statistics for the PlayStation 5 Pro, there is clear market interest, with gamers willing to pay even such steep prices as 800 euros for a device, without a drive even, to enjoy their favorite games in the best resolution and quality possible. And it doesn't take a genius to understand the obvious. The same fate awaits the PlayStation 6, which is destined for an intermediate Pro generation. Like it or not, in 4 years, a new console will be released. Renowned insider Tom Henderson attended blogger GSC's stream and shared some intriguing information about PlayStation's future. According to him, Sony will now announce games no earlier than 2 years before their release to avoid making fans wait too long and to minimize delays. Phantom Blade Zero serves as a good example of this new approach. The company also plans to increase the number of major releases in the coming years, with discussions about releasing multiple large-scale projects annually. Alongside this, Sony is considering multi-platform strategies and will likely begin launching its major projects simultaneously on both PC and PlayStation soon. When the PS6 is released, a lighter version of the console, similar to today's Xbox Series S, may be introduced. Additionally, it is expected that both Sony and Microsoft will unveil portable devices in the near future to compete with the Nintendo Switch and Steam Deck. Overall, there's a lot to look forward to, though it's becoming increasingly clear that we are losing the exclusivity of PlayStation games, evidenced by the recent PC release of Spider-Man just a year after its PlayStation debut. Helldivers 2 isn't even being considered for an Xbox port. In a recent episode of the Xbox Era podcast, host and Xbox insider Nick Baker stated, "From what I've heard, that's not going to happen." This disappointing news for Xbox fans follows Baker's comments from April, where he mentioned, based on sources, that PlayStation and Xbox were in very early talks about a Helldivers 2 port. At the time, Baker explained that the possibility of Helldivers 2 coming to Xbox could be influenced by Sony Interactive Entertainment's new chairman, Hiroki Totoki, who is known to be more open to bringing PlayStation games to other platforms. A PlayStation 4 fan and enthusiast turned their beloved PlayStation 4 Slim into a portable device. To achieve this, they removed unnecessary components, completely redesigned the cooling system, resoldered, and slightly trimmed the motherboard, resulting in the device now displayed on your screen. However, it weighs 1.7 kilograms, considering that many users complain about the heavy weight of the Steam Deck, which doesn't even reach 1 kilogram. Nearly 2 kilograms is quite a drawback. Notably, the portable PS4's battery lasts for 90 minutes of uninterrupted play in GTA 5 or The Last of Us Part 2. It's unlikely that such a console will enter mass production, but as a custom-made example, it's impressive. Although devices like this are not unique, enthusiasts have previously presented portable versions of the PS2 and PS3. PlayStation 4 is a logical continuation of this trend. Essentially, the legendary Concord is officially over. Sony has announced the closure of Firewalk Studios and is halting work on Concord. The project will not be revived, despite numerous rumors, even as a free-to-play game, and its servers will remain closed. This decision was made after a careful analysis of the situation. Despite some successful elements, the game failed to attract a large enough audience and is now being relegated to history. It's a pity. It could have had a story like Fortnite, which was initially overlooked, but once a free mode was introduced, it quickly became one of the most popular battle royales. The trophy hunting portal PSN Profiles shared some interesting stats. In the 16 years of trophies on PlayStation consoles, players have earned around 5.5 billion achievements, with just under 50 million of those being platinum. This means players are unlocking a little over 900,000 achievements daily. I've definitely contributed to this statistic. So, what was the last trophy you unlocked? Let us know in the comments. Gaming market analysts conducted research and found that over 80% of PlayStation 5 sales in the United States are for the disk drive version. Only 18% of PlayStation 5 units sold in the US are digital editions. According to the data, gamers are increasingly choosing physical media when it comes to consoles. Even with such a strong preference for the disk drive version, as of September 2024, digital game sales made up 40% of total game sales. Comparing this to trends in recent years, the percentage of digital purchases is rising, though it's not yet the majority. I would venture to guess that nearly 8 out of every 10 people prefer to buy the console with a disk drive as a kind of safety net. The main fear among gamers is, what if I buy the digital edition and end up needing a drive? Because of this, many are willing to pay an extra 60 to 70 euros for the disk drive version. 3 days after the official release, the first reviews for Call of Duty Black Ops 6 have come in. The average score on Metacritic, based on 33 reviews, settled at 85 out of 100. Notably, for the PlayStation 5 version, the average player score after 600 reviews was 7.4. Considering the recent games in the series, it's fair to say that Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is the best in recent memory. It also broke the series record for the number of players and brought the highest subscriber increase on Xbox Game Pass on its release day. However, whether the game is worth its $70 price tag is quite a philosophical question. By the way, the new COD runs great on the Steam Deck. I'll leave a link to the gameplay channel in the description for those interested. Hideo Kojima made a bold statement, expressing his desire to create games that even aliens would appreciate. He said that, just as paintings can be appreciated 100 or 200 years after an artist's death, games and movies become legacies passed down through generations. If I create something that will inspire even after a century, perhaps aliens will say, "This is incredible." And I believe that's how you leave a mark in history. This certainly explains why Kojima's games can sometimes seem so incomprehensible and wild. The highly anticipated release from Electronic Arts' Dragon Age: The Veilguard has finally arrived. The game's average score on Metacritic stands at 84 out of 100. Journalists note that a moderate playthrough will take about 55 hours. Praise has been given to the character editor, engaging storyline, and open world. However, there are a few drawbacks, with criticism directed at the tiresome and occasionally annoying side missions, unnatural-looking towns and villages, and the lackluster model quality of some NPCs. The game's launch numbers were decent, though not extraordinary. At its peak, just over 70,000 people were playing it on Steam, while Monster Hunter Wilds saw over 404,000 players during its beta test phase. And speaking of Monster Hunter Wilds, an open beta test is currently running on PlayStation 5 consoles through November 4th. Anyone interested can join, but an active PlayStation Plus subscription is required since it's an online game. This is the latest installment in the iconic series, with a full release scheduled for February 28th, 2025. So if you're looking for something to play, keep it in mind. Sony released a complete list of games that support the PlayStation 5 Pro's features at the console's launch. Including 3 VR games, the list contains 84 titles. Highlights include Alan Wake 2, Dragon's Dogma, Diablo 4, Dead Island, Lies of P, The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2, both Horizon games, the Spider-Man series, and much more. Be sure to save this list if you're planning to get the Pro version. Remedy, the creators of Alan Wake and Control, presented a financial report revealing that the studio's revenue grew by 129% between July and September 2024. The announced cooperative shooter FBC Firebreak is set to release in 2025 at a mid-range price point, but it will also be available on day one through PlayStation Plus. It was also disclosed that full production on Control 2 is planned to begin in 2025. As of the end of September, Alan Wake 2 has recouped most of its production and marketing costs, though it has not yet generated profit. Production of the Max Payne 1 and 2 remakes is on schedule, but the company is not ready to reveal specific details about these new versions. This past Wednesday, October 30th, Sony announced a new lineup of games for PlayStation Plus subscribers in November. There are 3 titles: Hot Wheels Unleashed 2, a fast-paced arcade racing game with split-screen co-op, Ghostwire Tokyo for PlayStation 5, and Death Note Killer Within available on day one. To give some context on audience reception, online opinions about this generous lineup have leaned more toward the negative. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments, as that's all for today. Thanks for watching until the end. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and see you soon in future videos.